The World Bank and its sister organization, the International Monetary Fund, are very special organizations. They are sitting on top of the world's wealth, which was put into a secret account, and it has more gold than anybody knows about. And it is cloaked in secrecy. The bankers do not own that money. It's held in benefit for humanity. The World Bank and the IMF are listed on a special agreement that was signed in 1950 about that. Assets, it's gold. It's more gold than people know about. It's over 1 million metric tons of gold. And the World Bank and the IMF have a special role to play, making sure that that money is spent to the benefit of humanity.
So where's the gold? Some people believe that the gold in Fort Knox has disappeared. That's been in question for many years. Congressmen have attempted to get an audit of the gold in Fort Knox. So 1 million metric tons of gold is not something you can just hide. Where would you say that that gold is being stored?
400,000 metric tons are in the Central Bank of the Philippines. There's over 200,000 metric tons in Union Bank of Switzerland. And some of that gold is buried securely in the Philippines as well. Some of it is held in various banks.
Here, 170 banks that Marcos deposited money on.
But the bulk of it is in the Philippines.
So the World Bank holds the note on that gold?
No. It is in a special trust account that was set up by Ferdinand Marcos, and the authorized signatory is a German banker lawyer by the name of Wolfgang Struck, who also lives in the Philippines.
So how do the people get the gold back? If it's their gold and it was taken by these bankers, how do we receive it? That is
the question. And they're just sitting there illegally and refusing to relinquish it. Part of the problem is that this gold is cloaked in secrecy. But in the last month, Wolfgang Struck has been publishing all of the documentation. So it's there for people to see. We have the originals. And people just have to make sure that the banks do what they're required to do, which is release the world's wealth.
Contact Phoenix Journal Review. Independent confirmation of the Philippines gold.
Throughout the Spanish occupation of the Maharlika, members of the Tagayan Italiano clan have been visiting Europe since some of their relatives were English and Austrian. From 1866 to 1898, Prince Julian Macleod Italiano, who became titleholder of OCT 01-4 in 1864, had also been frequenting the Vatican. In 1934, under Pope Pius XII, the Vatican negotiated with a member of the Filipino royal family, the Christian Italiano clan in the Maharlika. An agreement was reached that 640,000 metric tons of the Italiano gold would be lent to the Pope. This was part of that gold accumulated by the Southeast Asian Srivijayan Majapahit Empire during its glorious reign of 900 years. In 1939, two members of the Italiano family and a Roman Catholic priest, Father Jose Antonio Diaz, brought the gold from Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, to the Vatican. After doing this, Father Diaz went back to the Maharlika and resided in Cabanatuan City. After World War II, he facilitated the safe return of the 640,000 metric tons of gold from the Vatican to the Maharlika. Manuel Acuna Rojas, a relative of the Acuna Tagayan Italiano clan, then a congressman, and Bishop Enrique Sobrepena Sr., in the presence of attorney Lorenzo Tanyada, received the gold in Manila. Having gained the trust and confidence of Father Diaz, the Italiano clan made him the main negotiator and trustee of their gold. Father Diaz, in turn, hired the services of attorney Ferdinand Marcos, then a highly recommended brilliant young lawyer, having attained notoriety when he successfully defended himself in the Nalundasan case in 1939. The Italiano clan paid commission to Father Diaz and attorney Marcos in gold, 30% from the principal of 640,000 metric tons. In 1949, the two richest men in the world were Father Jose Antonio Diaz and attorney Ferdinand Marcos. Between the two of them, they legitimately earned and owned 192,000 metric tons of gold. Ferdinand Marcos withdrew their share of the gold from the central bank and minted it, RPCB. Sometime later, Father Diaz and Marcos brought their gold to Switzerland, in the Swiss Bank Corporation in Zurich. The remaining 400,000 metric tons of Italiano gold is in the third-floor basement of the central bank minting plant in East Avenue, Quezon City. Gold for gold, dollar for dollar, this country, the Maharlika, is the richest country in the world. During a talk show in a U.S. TV the week following the bombing of the New York Twin Towers, President Bush was asked this question, which is the richest country in the world today? With a smile he said, the Philippines.
On April 9, 1973, Marcos said, "My earthly goods have been placed in the custody and for the disposition of the Marcos Foundation, dedicated to the welfare of the Filipino people."
₱7,000 tonelada ng gold bars na ang halaga ngayon naaabot sa 15 trillion pesos. Yan daw ang pag-aari ng di umano ng pamilya Marcos. Higit pa yan sa pinagsama-samang utang ng Pilipinas. Sa isang panayam noong 2013, sinabi ni dating unang ginang Imelda Marcos na handa siyang ibahagi ang kanilang di umanong yaman. May report si Maki Pulido.
Sa panayam noong 2013 ni Mel Chanco kay Imelda Marcos, ang dating unang ginang mismo ang nagpakita ng kwartong punong-puno ng dokumento kaugnay sa isa sa mga naipanalo nilang kaso noong 1990s sa New York.
You're entering the documents of the trial of the century.
Oh!
Here, 170 banks that Marcos deposited money on. These are the 350,000 documents used against me. How much is that?
$240 million. Oh my goodness. Is it million? Billion?
Billion.
Billion? 240 billion?
Only one shipment. And these are plenty of shipments.
Nang tanungin kung bukas siyang ibigay ang bahagi ng yamang ito, sinabi niyang oo raw at hindi lang sa Pilipinas kundi sa mundo.
Mrs. Marcos, if we go by all of these, you are rich beyond compare.
No, this will save the world.
The world.
The world. This is the reason why I want to survive. And it's not for me anymore.
So, Mrs. Marcos, are you saying you're open to giving some or an amount of this one to the country, to the Filipinos?
Not only the Philippines, but the world.
So what are you waiting for before you can attain your intention?
With this now we are tied our hands with the whole press saying we are magnanakaw. We are the magnanakaw, kami ang ninanakawan. We are the one who took it. Marcos suffered so much for this.
Ang naging depensa raw ni Imelda para maipanalo ang kanilang kaso noon. Bago pa man daw naging presidente si Ferdinand, may mga ipong ginto na raw ito.
7,000 tons?
Yes, I have the documents. I have all the documents.
You are telling me, Mrs. Marcos,
And
that
gold
you
nung
have
araw
7,000 tons in the basement of your house in...
Something like that.
Na lumaki ng lumaki ang halaga paglipas ng panahon.
When we started, it was $32 and then $35.
An ounce of gold. She's talking of gold.
Now it's 1,300, 400, 500, 600, 800, naging iba-iba eh.
Iba-iba.
Ounce yan.
How many kilos?
And we are sitting on gold.
Ang malaalamat ng ang kwento ng ginto ng mga Marcos muling nauungkat ng ibunyag ni Pangulong Duterte na nagpaparamdam daw ang mga Marcos tungkol sa pagsasauli ng mga kanilang yaman.
The Marcoses, I will not name the spokesman sabi nila na they'll open everything and probably return yung nakita lang. But we are ready to open and bring back, sabi niya, pati yung few gold bars.
Ang PCGG walang formal na estima kung gaano karami ang ginto ng mga Marcos. Pero kung pagbabatayan ng kwento ni Buhay Party List Representative Lito Atienza, hindi lang iilan ang gintong pag-aari umano ng mga Marcos. Naikwento raw ito sa kanya noon ni Ginang Marcos.
Umahad lang ang isang superpower, hindi namin may kalawang gold na nakadeposito sa maraming lugar sa buong mundo. Ano ho ba estimate nyo sa gold na yan? Well, something like 7,000 tons.
Sa kasalukuyang presyo ng ginto na ayon sa Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas ay nasa mahigit $1,300 per ounce. Papatak sa mahigit $290 billion ang presyo ng 7,000 tonelada ng ginto umano ng mga Marcos. Katumbas yan ng mahigit 15 trillion pesos. Pwede na nitong mabura ng mahigit 2 beses ang lahat ng foreign and domestic na utang ng Pilipinas na ayon sa Bureau of Treasury ay nasa mahigit 6 trillion pesos sa kasalukuyan.